welcome to the first stretch of the week. My name is Ethan. Today we're going to be doing the pigeon stretch. So this is a deep hip opener that hits multiple muscles around the pelvis, hips and the lower back. This is a great stretch if you live a sedentary lifestyle or have a job that requires you to sit at a desk all day and it's not very active, as it just kind of gets all those muscles that get really tight from sitting and stuff like that, that just really stretch them open and relieves a lot of tension and pressure around the lower back and the hips. It's also very good for elongating the back and getting a nice stretch through that, stretching out the hamstrings maybe as well if you've got a bit of tight. Plus, right in the groin as well, your gracilis muscle and stuff right in there, because it's very good at working on the hip flexion and the hip opener. So with these sort of stretches, you want to accumulate about 60 seconds per leg. So whether you do that in 2 sets of 30 seconds, so 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds other, switch over, or you can even do it in 20 seconds and you would do it 3 times, and so on and so forth. So before we quickly get into it, the muscle groups that these work are your hip flexor and your psoas muscle groups, such as your psoas major and your piriformis. Plus it's really good at stretching out the glute muscles as well, your gluteus maximus, your gluteus medius, and plus you'll feel more tension lengthening of muscles in the lower back and stuff like that as well. So to get into this, the easiest way I like to get into it was come up into a nice sort of high pike position, and you want to lift your leg knee up, like imagine you're doing a mountain climber. You're actually trying to straighten your leg out. So first you're in the first step, and then what you want to do is you want to just try and straighten that back leg right out. This is the easiest way I find to get into this position that I find is most comfortable. And then the idea of this stretch is you're really just trying to lower your weight to the ground really. You're just trying to, the lower you get to the ground, the more you're going to stretch out the glute muscles and the piriformis muscle as well, which is where we're aiming for. So you're really just trying to get down. So to begin with, the easy one is kind of just hold this position here. This is kind of the more base level you want to be at. This is just kind of the basic one. If you want to make it a bit harder, just go down into your legs, and then I really feel that stretching out a lot more. I'm not very flexible in this position, but if you can, try and get your chest and head right down to the ground, and you'll feel everything stretch out significantly a lot more. So you would just hold the position, obviously say it was like 30 seconds for here, where you find it. I find the most comfortable here, and if you can as well, you want to try and get that leg up higher if you can, but I can't. So you want to just hold that position. You really just try to sink your weight, just try and relax your breathing and really sink your hips right down to the ground if you can. And obviously you would swap that on both sides and then go back and forth. The regressions for this exercise, the first one would be lying your back instead. You're obviously not going to get as much of a stretch, it's not going to be nowhere near as much, but that's the idea, is if you can't get into that position at all, this is a good place to start. Is you're going to get one leg and sit your ankle on top of your thigh. You want to grab the leg that's down and just sort of pull it towards you. Even if you need to grab onto the knee rather than in the hamstring, you just lie back and you just pull that towards you. And again, the same times are also the same. And you'll also find as well, like me, you just saw there, I've got one leg that's way more flexible than another. Another regression you can do is a seated one, so rather than lying on your back, this one makes it even easier. Is you go in that exact same position, but now you're just trying to just bring your chest down to your foot, and you can really still feel that stretching down in there, opening up the hips. And again, same times. So one progression of this exercise would be to, obviously, if you can only lie so far, the ground gets in the way. So one that I like to do for warming up for before I go into sort of heavy lifts and stuff like that would be, assume the same position with your hands on the box. This time, put your legs on the box, and now you can really sink even lower. You get really low, lie flat, really sinking. And that way, the muscles that you target are deeper. You're stretching them a lot longer, and you're just really getting into that stretch a lot easier, a lot better. So that's also something I wouldn't recommend starting off with straight away. Start with the easier ones, find what's easier for you, and then build up to it. These are great for warming up for heavy lifts, to really get the hips open. But plus they're good for just an individual developmental stretching session, if you're just in for a bit of a stretch. It's also a yoga pose that people do. They do a king pigeon not attempting that at all because that's impossible for me, but you know, you can have a look at yourself. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know what you think, let me know if you've tried it. Can you do the king pigeon? Because I certainly can't. I'll leave a photo of it just so you can see as well. So please like, subscribe and comment, share around to your friends, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much.